Well, everything's getting shut down nowadays. There's no fun to be had. But you know who we can always count on? Old Vince McMahon. Because we got WrestleMania this past weekend, but we're not talking that. That'll be for Monday. We're going to celebrate this crowning achievement by talking up a good old-fashioned wrestling movie. And why not start with the one that everyone knows, the 2008 The Wrestler. Got everyone talking about it when it came out, but how has it aged? Is it as good as it was back then? We'll find out in a very ram-dram edition of the Revue.
Hey, welcome to the Revue, everybody. Of course, I am George the Max Extreme.
You want your fucking cheese, lady?
Yes! And we are being remotely joined by the one, the only, Coach Havens. He's joining us on this Wrestle extravaganza. Coach Havens, how are you doing?
You know what? I am doing great. I got my Corona in hand, watching classic WrestleMania 7, ready to talk, boys.
Very good. How's that Corona treating you?
Dude, I feel like I'm in the islands.
Very apt.
I really do.
Don't have any respiratory problems right now?
Don't have any what?
You don't have any respiratory problems right now?
No, I'm feeling great. Nothing's hit me yet. I am Corona through the bloodstream right now, which takes away the chances of getting the coronavirus. People don't know that, but I do.
Sweet. Can't wait for that to spread on the internet as like an actual thing.
I'm surprised that hasn't.
Yeah.
Yet.
Trump's gonna start saying it. So.
Oh shit!
Just drink Corona. You'll get rid of Corona.
It's beautiful.
So hey, fellas, before we get into The Wrestler from 2008, why don't we get into a little bit of the news of the week? There's not a whole lot, but I'll tell you what did start this week. Quibi hit the streaming world like a soft whisper. I've been
watching Quibi nonstop. What are you talking about? I love those 10-minute episodes.
Well, if only Rita could have, Ramondo Chaw herself could have Skyped in here and told you what Quibi is, but I'll try to take the floor. It's a new streaming platform that all of its content is 10 minutes or less. So it's only really good for mobile devices, really. That's the only thing that they're trying to push it forward, because everyone watches shit on their phones. So since Quibi started, it actually has like quite a lot of like famous people behind it. It's weird. It's got like Christy Teigen and like Chance the Rapper and like a bunch of like high profile people like to try to push this thing. And if you've seen any commercials for it, they're already just abysmally annoying. And so I just have a few things to say about it. I have not watched it at all. But these are some downfalls that people who have been watching it say. Is that it can only be watched on a phone. There's no other way to watch it yet. So like if you wanted to sit down and like watch Christy Teigen's courtroom show, you have to do it on your phone. You don't have any option. So that kind of sucks.
What a perfect thing to come out while people are stuck in their house with a full-fledged TV that they can watch.
No shit. Also, it already has allegations of possible stolen content.
Sounds like straight up garbage already. I'm sorry.
All of the ads, which I just talked about before, that are insufferable, are trying to make Quibi like a pop term, so it makes it even more annoying. That's just the advertising in general.
Those fucking commercials they put of Quibi up all the time, where it's like, hey, this will be done in about a Quibi. Like, shut up. Stop trying to make that a thing, you fucking idiot.
Yep, that's what I'm talking about. Now this is
I'm in quarantine, and I've heard nothing about this. I don't know what this is. I am so clueless to any of this, and listening to you guys talk about it makes me hate it even more than I don't even know about it.
well, that's good. You've been.
I hate this more than I know about it.
I hate Quibi.
My hatred for this trumps my knowledge of it.
No, this isn't a deal breaker for me, but some people thought it was very upsetting that you can't screenshot Quibi. So if you wanted to make like GIFs of something funny on there, you can't. And that's not like a huge deal breaker because on other streaming platforms, I've tried to take screenshots of stuff and it doesn't let you, probably for copyright reasons. And another...
Oh, Netflix lets me... I know Netflix had let me screenshot things. That's how I got the picture of that friggin' Asian guy from Six Underground. Because I couldn't find it. I couldn't find it online, and I just wanted a picture of him. The guy that fucking wears the Britney bitch shirt.
Yeah. Well, I know Amazon Prime streaming does not let you do it because I tried to take a GIF of Midsummer when the guy jumping off the cliff, and I couldn't do it. Much of this content, a lot of people ask of like, why can't this just go to YouTube? Like, it doesn't make any sense because YouTube is already free and Quibi costs $4.99 a month or $8 a month if you want no ads. Which I'm like, in a 10...
Oh my god.
If you want to...
How do you have ads during 10-minute episodes? Like every 2 minutes there's an ad?
I have no idea. And then also...
This sounds awful.
There's... With it being... I don't know if it jumped the gun and did it while there's a quarantine in place, but there's also not a whole lot of content on there. So that doesn't really surprise me so much. But you would think if it's a whole big streaming platform, you'd want something of substance on there, but there isn't. So apparently you can watch almost everything in a day that's on the platform now. I have no idea. But,
oh my god, it's amazing.
Yeah. So that's all about Quibi. That's what I learned earlier today. So if you want to check it out, they are offering a free trial for like 30 days or whatever, but if you want it,
You do it the 29 days after you've watched everything.
Shit. That's a good point. Don't know.
Oh, I watched everything. What am I going to do for 29 days?
Moving on. Did you guys hear about Ezra Miller choking out a fan?
What?
What?
I didn't look into the story a lot, but I did see the video of it where a girl fan came up to him and it looks like she was like
a girl.
Yeah, was trying to like fake fight him, but she was still like 4 or 5 feet away, and like he approached her and just like put his hands around her throat and put her to the ground. And then the guy that was filming was like, dude. And then the video cuts.
Sounds like there was a lesson to be taught.
Yeah, apparently. I have no idea what preempted this. Maybe she deserved it. We don't know. But there's video evidence
It's
out
funny
there.
because I saw a thing where like they said that Warner Brothers is looking to replace Ezra Miller as the Flash, and I was like, oh, they must have like not be able to come to terms on something, and now it's like, oh no, this makes more sense now.
Yep. It isn't just that the Flash script has gone through 700 rewrites and 9 different directors, but Ezra Miller also choked out a fan on the street. But yeah, so check that out. There's footage of it. Watch it before you go to bed. Make you feel good. Apparently...
Can I watch it on Quibi?
Quibi should buy it and turn into a Quibi. Ezra Miller chokes out fan. Watch the Quibi.
I would buy Quibi just for that.
It was stolen content. It's stolen content.
I'd watch that for 30 days.
It was only originally on World Star Hip Hop, and now it's on Quibi. Were you a fan of Doogie Howser, MD?
I don't think I was old enough. Like, I remember my parents watching a little bit, but I think I was still too little to, like, give a shit.
No, I never watched the Doog.
I was aware of it. Like, I've seen a few episodes, but I guess we're in luck, because a reboot is planned, I guess with good old NPH's seal of approval, and it's coming to some streaming in the near future. So you get to see a kid doctor, which I think is already a show on TV. What's that one called? JT, we did it once during our pilot season.
Oh, The Good Doctor?
Yeah, The Good Doctor.
Isn't he, like, autistic or something?
Yeah, he's like a kid autistic surgeon or something like that.
Yeah, The Good Doctor.
He gives a guy a tracheotomy in an airport or whatever it was.
Oh, yeah. Like, glass goes into a kid's throat.
It's insane. So yeah, watch maybe a funnier version of it. Was Doogie Howser funny? Why am I asking? You guys don't know. I thought it was funny because he's a kid, but maybe it's a full-on drama. I have no idea.
Well,
I think it was a full-on drama.
Yeah, full-on drama.
It full-on drama?
Full-on drama.
Yeah, I think
full
it was
on.
a slippery flan drama.
My name is Flan Drama.
Almost custard-like, in fact.
Rob Pattinson has come out and said that the new Batman that he's going to be playing, hashtag our Pats is our bats. It's
Of course. Our Pats is our bats.
He's not going to be a fully formed Batman yet, so he's going to be early on in his career, which many people have speculated already. But I am kind of disappointed in that a little bit because the Dark Knight trilogy kind of did that already. You know what I mean? And we're just coming off that. I mean, just coming off that was like a decade ago. But, I mean, the Ben Affleck one was cool, but it wasn't really... It was like a Batman in his older years. They never hit like a one like in their stride. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Let's just do that.
Yeah,
like,
I want a Batman in his prime.
Yeah.
Right when he's really making a name for himself.
Yeah, not when he's overripe.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool.
So, but I mean,
I would like it only if he sparkles.
oh come on.
Oh, no Twilight fans on here? No? Okay.
Can't say that I am. Can't say that I'm a huge Twilight fan. Sorry to say.
Well, Cole, if you're a fan of Twilight, it's currently as one of the semi-finalists in our Revue Turn Random Movies.
Ooh, you know what? I've watched all the Twilights because my wife's a huge fan, or was a huge fan, so I could be in on that.
Was? She had a falling out with Twilight?
Well, just haven't watched them in a long time. We got into more of the, let's see, True Blood, like those type of vampires.
Oh.
Oh, her vampire taste had matured over time.
Yeah, full on, like hardcore sex now.
Vamporn.
You guys are going down a slippery slide now. Now you're going to be watching vampire porn.
We're going down a flan slide, in fact.
All right.
A flan slide?
Because it's slippery, you know?
Like flan. Yeah, I get it. Why is that the one thing that's slippery? The first thing that comes to our mind is flan. Is slippery.
Because when we made it in Spanish class in high school, I remember sitting it on the paper plate, and I could barely put a fork into it because it slid all over the paper plate.
And you've held on to that memory to this day. I'm glad you did.
This is something that bothers me to this day, 20 years later.
There's one thing you can pull from this episode, everybody. It's that flan is slippery.
Tell me about it.
Really stuck in Coach Havens's jaw.
Give me a Quibi for it.
Quibi, if you're listening, here's a show opportunity for you. Slippery Foods with Coach Havens.
Oh my God, I can make it. I can make it daily and then give you something to watch for your free trial.
The last bit of news I have here, folks, is that the cast of Full House, or at least the ones that wanted to participate or are not in a current legal battle, did a full-on remake of the opening titles of Full House entitled Full Quarantine, where they filmed themselves and they compiled it into a full-on new intro for the show. And it's quite funny. I've already retweeted it to the Revue page, so look it up on our Twitter, at RevuePod. It's quite fun. But that's
I will check that out.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. It's got like John Stamos washing his hands and Purelling. It's great, but he gives a nice little wink and a nod to the camera like, I'm in on this joke, so get in it.
Oh, I'm totally in it.
Hey guys, I'm funny. I'm John Stamos.
Hey, we're having fun here.
We're having fun. There's a pandemic. We're having fun.
All right, so yeah, that's all my news there, gents. So
Hey.
JT, got anything going on over there?
Got a few things, including I got an update on Tiger King.
Oh baby.
See, Havens, you watch the rest of that Tiger King?
Dude, it's my favorite.
Great.
I'm ready to watch it again.
Well, you're not alone, because I guess Nielsen put out the ratings for Tiger King, and in its first 10 days, it nabbed 34 million views.
Holy
Oh my god.
So everyone is
You know
all about
why?
that Tiger King.
No, everyone's all
Why?
about that bitch Carol Baskin.
Oh, that's true.
Jesus. You seen all the memes out there? Good lord.
Oh my god, I've seen
That
every
bitch
meme.
Carol Baskin is ratings gold.
And I did learn, I think you said it last week, Joel, that they're putting out one more episode of Tiger King.
Oh yeah, I saw that too. They're doing like an addendum, like one more episode.
I heard that too. Does anybody know when that's coming out though? Have you guys heard?
Nah, I would assume.
I heard it's like soon. Yeah, I heard it's like pretty soon.
I would assume they'd want to do it while the iron's hot and do it pretty soon. But I was watching stuff
Makes total sense.
on some YouTube compilation of like stuff that wasn't in the show, which I can see why they took it out. It's just kind of like weird stuff, like his that Joe Exotic actually was married 6 times. There was 3 more before the 3 you saw on the show. And then
Oh my god.
his first husband that you see on the show, the guy with the meth mouth, he like has all of his teeth fixed and all that shit, looks like way put together. And
Oh yeah.
they decided, and it was like he had that like during the filming of the show. They just didn't want to put that in. And, like, that's kind of a dickish move.
God
Well,
damn
and
it.
I read something that they like told him, hey, every interview, just have your shirt off sitting down. I mean, I guess it makes you look more like a southern Oklahoma hick, I guess, or something. I don't know. But yeah, what other interview have you ever seen for the entire series? Dude sitting there with a shirt off.
That was one of my questions when I was watching it. Like, why does he not have a shirt on? Why? It doesn't. Why? For what purpose does this serve? And I guess it's just for
Yeah.
fucking
Why did that
Tom
lady
Oklahoma.
have her arm back on? Jeez.
Oh shit.
I saw like a thing before we started that somebody in like a press conference on the coronavirus asked Donald Trump if he would pardon Joe Exotic.
Oh my god.
I'm like, Jesus Christ.
Well, I mean, these are pertinent questions we need to know answers to right now in this crazy time,
Yeah.
Joel. What are you talking about,
Yeah.
Bucky?
Oh, excuse me, Mr. President, can you not talk about how many ventilators you have and talk about if Joe Exotic's going to breathe fresh air?
Do you know what the sad thing is?
34 million people want to know about Joe Exotic.
That would be one thing.
In all honesty, Mr. President, more people have watched Tiger King than have died from coronavirus, so this is more important.
Oh my god, that's terrible.
Oh my god. Oh shit. Tiger King, great show. Check it out. If you haven't already.
Troy and Cole, have you heard about this Netflix series Space Force that's coming on Netflix?
Yes. I'm excited for it.
Have not.
Yeah. They have officially announced a launch date of May 29th. If you haven't heard of it, it's supposed to star Steve Carell, and it also is made by the same people that made The Office.
Ooh.
Yeah. I heard about this like probably a year ago, and I've been wondering if it's ever going to come out. So I'm glad it finally is.
That sounds awesome. That'll be like halfway through my quarantine, so I'll have to check that out.
Yeah.
And then I think it's all my news.
Yeah.
There wasn't a lot.
Not a whole lot out there.
But I do have some bit.
Oh, God.
you gotta drum up another theme song, Troy.
All right.
Unless you want me to, should we just sing it so you don't have to drum it up, Troy?
Should I try to find it when we can do it live?
If you want.
Let's see if I can find it. Let me see if I can remember where I put it.
Should we interrupt Neil's taping of Credits Due and tell him to get his ass on here and sing it?
Yeah. Let's see. Oh, here it is. Let's see if it'll play. Here's the Neil's Bits theme. Oh my God, I have to install a thing. Oh, here we go.
Oh, there we go.
People dying, it's the pits. Please stay tuned to Neil's Bits.
Cole, don't tell him to ring this.
Dates. Don't shut up.
Play.
Shut up. It's not done.
Is it done?
All right. Yeah, it's done.
It's done now. It's done.
All right, JT.
What was that?
Well,
I'm dying over here in my soundproof garage.
It's the Neil's Bits theme.
That's incredible. It's the best thing I've ever heard.
So for when a famous person dies and we find it necessary to talk about it on the show, when we first did this, Neil was on the show quite often, and he created his own obituary song, Neil's Bits, Neil's Obits, and then he actually went and recorded it at his house and sent us an extremely long theme song.
Yeah. And we make fun of it every time it plays.
I love it.
Instead of doing like a little 10-second jingle, it's a full 28 seconds, and we play it in its entirety every time.
It's outstanding. What a tribute.
So,
I got 2 bits.
2! Oh my God.
2 bits.
Does that mean you have to play it again?
No.
I think we have to play it again. I think Cole said we have to play it. You have to play it again, Cole? Is that what you said?
Oh God.
Let's play it again, Sam.
People dying, it's the pits. Please stay tuned to Neil's Bits.
It makes me feel like I'm going on a cruise.
All right. All right. Dying at age 94.
Whoa!
Everybody.
Holy smokes!
Good long life. Honor Blackman. If you don't know who she is, she played Pussy Galore in Goldfinger.
Oh, okay, all right.
It's a bad word.
What, Galore?
Yeah, Jesus Christ.
Well, that's a shame. 94 though, my word.
Yeah. Good long life.
Quite the old pussy, if you will.
Oh my God. Oh my God. It wasn't Corona related, was it? Or I mean, she's 94. So
Well, that comment was because I'm 1.5 deep over here.
I love you're 1.5 beers deep. I thought you said you were drinking more nowadays.
I have been. This has been a lighter day for me.
Okay. I mean, what
Drinking
else?
more light beer?
You know what? You know what?
Who
Honor Blackman, rest in peace. Rest in power.
who was the other unfortunate soul?
Dying at age 81, very famous musician Bill Withers passed away.
I did
What
see
song
that.
did he sing?
He sang Lean On Me, Ain't No Sunshine.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
Lovely, lovely day, lovely day, lovely day,
A lovely day.
lovely day, 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 lovely day.
How does he hold
You guys
that
are
note
great.
for 10 minutes? That's
Yeah.
But yeah,
There you go, Bill Withers and Pussy Galore.
I did see that Bill Withers passed, and I totally spaced on it. But yeah, that's too bad. I brought that up to Chelsea, and she was pretty crushed. She's like, "That's one of my favorite artists ever," and I'm like, "I'm sorry, you should have kept up on it."
Wow.
I know, it's such a big death. I feel like we should play the Niels Bits theme again.
I mean, we probably should, really.
People dying, it's the pits. Please stay tuned to Neo's Bids.
A lovely day.
Lovely day, lovely day, lovely day, lovely day, lovely day, lovely day. Oh my god.
Oh, sweet deal. So with that now out of the way, is there
Hey,
any...
I got a question for you guys. I just thought of this.
Yeah.
In the news section,
Oh, okay.
have you guys heard anything about AMC possibly closing?
The theater chain?
Yeah.
No.
I've heard about like theaters in general that are just theaters in general are like finding it hard to go on, especially with all this shit going on.
I read something today, and I don't know if it was BS or not, but it said something about AMC being in a huge deficit already going into this year, and now this being, of course, a huge setback for them again.
Yeah.
That they're talk of possibly closing the whole chain.
Dang. I find
Jesus.
it kind of hard because they're like the biggest chain in the U.S., I think.
And that's what I thought, too. But I don't know if you guys have heard any more about that.
I haven't heard anything from it that the whole chain would be closing down. Maybe more underperforming theaters. But to me, it's hard to believe that they would shut it down completely. Because it's going to ramp back up, I would assume, once people can start going out. I mean, that's still going to be probably months away, really. But it's just hard for me to fathom that that huge franchise would close down.
Sure. Yeah, and that makes sense to me, too. I just didn't know if you guys had any more inside details that I didn't know about.
But like box office's numbers have been dropping over the last few years, even with like the height of like every Disney movie making $1 billion. Like that's about it. Like they make $1 billion and then everything else makes nothing, and a whole lot of people don't flock to the theater because almost every single wrap up of the year, I usually have like theater numbers from the current year and the previous years, and it's always depreciating value. More people are just watching shit at home. And I think maybe after this whole quarantine thing is done and they've been like putting out movies that you can just buy and watch at home, I want to know if that's going to change going forward. I think there's going to be a lot of stuff that's going to change going forward now that people can like it's shown that they can work from home and they'd rather maybe just stay and do stuff at their house rather than go out and do stuff. To me, I think personally, now this is me getting on a soapbox. I don't see why more businesses don't do that, because I don't know if it seems to me it would be cheaper for them to have it, to remotely do it like that. People work from home or have it available from your home than to own all this real estate and then keep up on that as well. Like, I just never understand why they all still want all this brick and mortar stuff when all they see is depreciating values every year. Granted, it's bringing in more money now, but with maybe something like this shaking it up, maybe they're like, well, maybe we can close some down and still find a balance with not paying all this revenue for physical brick and mortar places, and we'll balance out with the home purchases. So I don't know. What do you guys think?
I definitely think you're onto something there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like especially with like it'd be a good thing for people to be more spread out. Like, the reason why cities are so congested is because that's where all the jobs are. But if you can find a way to like branch out certain jobs you can do from home to like smaller communities, it'd be a lot easier to like someone that like lives like in one of our small towns could work for like a place that runs out of like Chicago.
Yeah, for sure.
So you could get like the kind of pay you get from a job that's there in like a smaller town where your mortgage and your rent is way cheaper.
Right. Yeah. I mean, we live in a small town here, and we have to commute. Well, at least me and Chelsea commuted to a larger city to work. And unfortunately, my job is more labor intensive. So like, I'm just laid off with only my PTO to subside me. But Chelsea's been working from home for almost a month now, and she's still making her full salary and getting as much done as she can, like, without skipping a beat. So like,
Jesus.
There's no reason why she can't work from home more often and have all that office space that's just real estate they have to pay for, and they can use that instead to like spread the wealth or use it for net gain or whatever. Like, I don't understand why. I've had this argument for years on why people can't work from home, but like, obviously I'm not in the right position to get people's ears until this podcast about The Wrestler.
Yeah.
I'm so glad I brought this up.
There's so many politicians that are tuning in because they love The Wrestler. Like,
if that's the case, shut down Quibi.
There's some real movers and shakers in like political world that are like, hey, we should really listen to that Troy to the Max Extreme guy.
Yeah. And get that Dinosaur Neil
But
on
I
the
do
horn.
think you're onto something there, Troy, because a little quick side note, not to get too far in, I called Dish Network to try to cancel my subscription last night.
Yeah.
And the dude ended up telling me, because we got into a conversation about WrestleMania 36, which is hilarious, but the dude ended up telling me that he was working from home. So along your point, why are so many of these businesses not working from home?
Yeah.
Man, imagine being a telemarketer at your house. Like, you just have like wrestling playing in the background while you're just being like, hey, let me tell you about this new offer.
Yeah. Granted,
It's my dream.
it does take like a certain like will to want to work from your house, because we set up our guest bedroom as like a makeshift office, so it's like actually going to work rather than just like kicking back in your pajamas. Like, Chelsea still gets up and showers and dresses for work every day, but you have to like treat it like that, or else you're just going to end up drinking at
fellow
home.
podcaster. Fellow podcaster King Kong Eric, the old ancient man himself, he works from home.
That's true.
The oldest man alive?
The oldest man alive, King Kong Eric.
Oh, that's I love this. I love it so much. Hey, Cole, did you bring up any more news? Because that sparked.
No, that's all I had. It just struck my chords the other day, and I wanted to bring that up with some experts.
All
And
right.
you guys are the experts in my world.
Oh, well, that's
Man,
very
old Hot
sad.
Take Haven's getting his cord struck.
That's right. Striking chords over here. That's CHORDS.
Well, that brings us into a little segment we call "It's Done." Do we have anything that's done?
You
Jason?
know it's done.
Do you even have any trailers? Because I do not. I don't.
I have one.
Oh, what even scraped by as a trailer?
It's like pretty much all the trailers that are coming out are like for shit on Netflix. But the only one that that stuck out to me is there's a movie that's going to be on Netflix on April 24th called Extraction
Oh,
with old Chris Hemsworth
oh,
at the helm.
I actually did watch this. To be perfectly
Yeah.
fair.
Oh, so you're a fucking liar.
Listen, I did watch it with the sound off, so does it technically count as me watching it? I don't know. It's still up
I
in the
got
air.
you. Well, I figured you would be in on this because it's directed by the Russo brothers.
Oh, all right.
Yeah?
It's got old Hemsworth in it, buffing it up.
Yep. Being all buff. He's like saving like a Indian kid from some Middle Eastern country where they're blowing shit up and
Oh, God.
all that good stuff.
Oh, God. All right. So, I mean, it looks decent. Like, from what I could see with the sound off, it looks like a decent movie. But I didn't actually know the Russos were behind it, so it actually gives me a little more faith in the project.
Yes, the action from what I saw looked really good.
Yeah.
And like they do like some cool shit in there where like all the people that he calls about like getting out of this country are just like, look, we can only really kind of get you out. It's going to be hard to do it with you when you have a kid, so you might as well just kill the kid. And it's like, Jesus Christ.
Oh, my God.
Dark.
Dark as fuck.
Yeah, Russos don't fuck around.
Sweet. Yeah, so that actually, I was actually surprised to also see that was going to Netflix too. So I was like, oh, cool, because it looks really good. Like, it looks like a decent budgeted movie. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I'm
Like, I don't
into
know
it.
if it's one of those ones where it was like they were planning on putting it out in a theater, and now that all this shit happened, they're just like, oh, fuck it, let's just give it to Netflix or something.
Yeah. I wonder how many of those there are, and if they're just waiting to hold out compared to like if they would get a better payout through Netflix. I wonder how that's gonna go.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I don't know. This might be like Netflix's saving grace, where people are just like, just take it. We'll just
Yeah.
take this.
Yeah. Do we sit on this for like a year to like reschedule it in the schedule, or do we just like have Netflix pay $10 million for it and just take it as a loss?
Yeah. No shit.
That'd be fun to know.
But that's my only one.
All right. All right. Well,
Extraction.
that swings us right into the tournament of random movies this week. A hot one.
That's right. We had the Grand Budapest Hotel versus Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. And this one, again, came very close to the 69 rule.
Cole, do you know about the 69 rule?
I don't know about the 69 rule. Do tell.
Okay, so literally 2 weeks ago, we thought it would be funny if one of our polls that we put out, a movie would get a 69% to win, it automatically wins the tournament because we think it's funny, right? And then
Oh, man, of course.
that week, it almost happened. And so I didn't yet vote for that one, so I voted to change the percentage because I didn't want that one to win the entire tournament because I do not like that movie. And then this last week, it happened again where the movie was at a 69% with just like a few days left for voting. And then I didn't vote on it at all.
Man.
Because I was like, nope, I want this one to win the whole tournament to screw that other fucking movie out of it. But then it didn't go anywhere. Somebody must have retweeted it and got a few more votes.
Yeah, and we have a Canadian listener by the name of Sam who is taking great offense to Troy rigging the system and is now trying desperately to make House of Wax win.
What a terrible the Paris Hilton one.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, that movie sucks balls.
Wasn't that the one where the sound mic came down into the picture at one point?
Yes, the boom mic dropped during the movie.
And they never edited it out.
What a fucking production that was.
Oh my god, that's a terrible movie.
So, also, to my defense, I am not rigging the system. I'm playing it as a game, okay? This is a game we're playing now. Sam, you did this to yourself. I had the power to cast or to not cast my vote, and I played it like a fucking pro, okay? So suck on it.
Yeah. It's an ongoing. There's this epic rivalry now between our listener Sam and Troy because he very much campaigned for the happening to win our last tournament, making me and Troy watch it, and it's fucking awful. So now he is championing House of Wax for this tournament, and it's just it's awful.
Dude, you are starting an international incident right now. You don't even know it.
The thing is, Sam is hilarious. He actually made a winning video when the happening won. Do you remember that video, JT? Where when the happening actually won, he made a video of him championing the movie and him just mowing down on hot dogs, saying it did it, it won. It was actually really good. I might watch that later. It was a good video.
Anyways, Grand Budapest Hotel beat Planes, Trains, and Automobiles and is moving on in the tournament with hear this, Cole. This is all that's in the tournament so far. We have Brewster's Millions, Twilight, Saw, Whiplash, Tropic Thunder, and House of Wax.
Ooh, this is a fun one.
And now Grand Budapest Hotel.
And Grand Budapest Hotel. And
I
we
got
have
two front runners.
We have one more first round match that will be the poll for this week that I will bring up right now. I'll let both of you guys kind of guess what it is. We have a film from 2011, which I'll just give it out right now. Troy, you've just talked about it not that long ago.
Okay, that doesn't mean a whole lot.
And a film from 2005, which is a remake of an older film.
Okay. I have no guesses yet. Unless one is...
No, I got
nothing. The movie from 2011. I'll give you guys the tagline. The tagline is...
Now comes the part of the show where you search for the tagline.
That's right. That's how we do it here. The tagline for the first one in 2011, First Contact, Last Stand.
Oh, God.
Is that an Aliens versus Predators?
You're close, Cole.
In 2011. Is that just Predators?
No. So the funny thing is, when I first talked about the movies that are going to be in this tournament, I said the name of this and even told you you'd probably forget it the minute I brought it up.
Oh, is it Cowboys and Aliens?
It's Cowboys and Aliens.
Oh my God! I forgot about that movie.
God, I just did it on another podcast. I watched it for credits due. Oh my God. All right. Cowboys and Aliens. Fuck. That's so funny that you knew
Cowboys
that I would forget it.
Cowboys and Aliens is now in the tournament, and it will go head-to-head with a movie from 2000. 2005, and I said it's a remake of an older film. I'll give you another clue. It involves football.
The Longest Yard.
It is The Longest Yard.
That
Good input, Cole.
Longest Yard. So there you go.
All right.
Cowboys and Aliens versus The Longest Yard. It is our last match in the first round of our Term Miranda movies. So all movies are out there now.
Awesome. What were your front runners there, Cole? You were saying that before we got into this week's.
should I say them? Will I influence any voters?
Yeah, it doesn't matter. You probably will. I don't know.
Well, I mean, I talked about Twilight already because I would love to join in on that one.
Okay.
And Saw is like one of my favorite movies. Just the first one. This is the first Saw. Is one of my favorite movies of all time.
Yeah.
Well, that's the one in the tournament. The first one. 2004 Saw.
Okay.
Oh, that is such a good one. Oh my god.
So Twilight.
Yeah,
and
those would be
Saw.
my two. The Longest Yard's good too. I like The Longest Yard when I watched that, but I haven't seen it since it was in theaters like 15 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't remember disliking The Longest Yard. But I don't know if I would pick it to...
Really?
Yeah, I don't know if I would pick it to win the entire thing. I don't even know.
No. I would pick it over Cowboys and Aliens if that's just me.
Oh.
And I probably will. Probably go on Twitter and do that here in a little bit.
There you go. Well, it won't come out till tomorrow because I do it the next day. So
Well, that works.
Yeah. I don't really have any ideas what could really take the whole thing. Because it's usually not a great movie that takes the whole thing. So I'm not sure.
yeah.
Not sure.
If I had a personal preference, I'd probably go for Whiplash because I fucking love Whiplash.
Yeah, I've never seen Whiplash. I've only seen the end, and I guess I saw the ending out of context, and I was like, yeah, it looks all right. So, a drumming.
And we
movie.
know old ass Eric wants Brewster's Millions.
Oh yeah, he's got a fucking torch for Brewster's Millions for whatever reason.
Of course he does. What an ancient bitch.
Oh shit. Sweet. Sweet deal. So make sure you go to Revue Pod on Twitter to cast your vote to see who will go on to be in the tournament. So that leads us in to the main event of the evening, more apt than ever, I should say that, with The Wrestler. This movie came out December 17th, 2008. Been doing a lot of December movies lately. You realize that?
Well, we're getting that feeling for Christmas. We want that.
Yeah, sure. We just want to give gifts to everybody.
We're in the holiday spirit.
It had a budget of $6 million, domestically brought in $26.2 million, and worldwide $44.7 million. So it did pretty good for itself. Rotten Tomatoes has this at 98%. IMDb 7.9 out of 10. Metacritic 81%. And Gone with the Twins, another review site that I've usually dip back into every once in a while, gives it a 7 out of 10.
Ooh.
Yeah. So pretty high marks for The Wrestler here.
High marks.
So, Cole, could I extend the olive branch to you, and could you give me a synopsis of what The Wrestler is all about?
Oh my God, I'd love to. So we are looking at a wrestler who reached his peak of his popularity, his fame in the 80s. And now we're in current day, which 2008, and he is still out there wrestling, has not given up the dream, is probably about 15 years past his prime, and is doing what in pro wrestling is called like the indie circuit, so not on TV, not on the main product, and is hitting local gyms, hitting American Legion halls, working his way around in his area of the Northeast and is living off his fame of the 80s. And it touches on those subjects of going to those shows, but it also reaches into his personal life more than anything of how has his inability to let go of his past affected his personal life in his relationship with his daughter, in his personal relationships, in everything. And it is fantastic. Just rewatched it today. How's that for a synopsis?
Very
Oh,
good.
yeah, I was going to ask you if you got back to if you were able to watch it today or not.
Oh my God. My wife and I watched it today. My wife, who just brought me a drink, by the way.
Oh.
And it,
Hi,
oh my
Katie.
God. Oh,
Hi, guys.
Oh, look at that
Oh, shit.
sultry voice over there.
oh, sultry. And it was fantastic. Totally kept me glued to my seat. I mean, also the 5 dogs laying on top of me, but kept me glued to my seat for the entire duration of the movie. So good. So good.
Yeah. So you guys both own this movie, right? Because you both do pro wrestling and were gifted this movie in like 2009 when it came out on DVD.
Oh yeah. Once you
Bought
get
it
past wrestling
immediately.
training, your trainer gives it to you as a diploma.
I was kind of bummed out it wasn't streaming because I don't own this movie, so I had to rent it on Amazon Prime. But I was just like, I bet these guys just own it because they were probably gifted it like 100 times.
I think I bought it on Blu-ray, actually. I think I owned it on DVD. And then I bought it on Blu-ray like a couple years ago because I was like, why don't I own this on Blu-ray? It's The Wrestler.
That's right. That's right. But yeah, that was a very, very good synopsis there, Cole. Very good.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
It's
Thank
up. It's up there with the best of them. You know, in the
Oh,
upper echelon.
my God. You guys have me back for more because of that synopsis?
Well, you can go and retire on top
You
right
definitely
now.
said you definitely said the synopsis better than I usually do.
Yeah, every time I pass off to Joel, you're like, "Ah, fuck this again." Jesus, all right.
Especially the ones where like the movie's all over the fucking place, and I'm like, ah, fuck. Well, I don't know. The guy does something.
Oh shit! But yeah, this this is one of Darren Aronofsky's, I think, best movies that he's ever done. Like anything that he's done after this, I don't even know if I like. You know what I think about Mother?
So you love Mother?
What other movies has he done?
Well, I think the most recent one he did was Mother, with Jennifer Lawrence and Javier Bardem. He did.
Okay, didn't see it.
He did.
Oh my god!
Requiem.
I'd love to get your take on Mother sometime, Cole. My god.
He did.
All right, challenge accepted.
He did Requiem for a Dream. He did that.
Oh, that's a great movie.
Yeah, he did Pi. That was like a self-financed one.
Yeah.
Oh, shoot. There's
He did The Fountain. Holy shit, The Fountain is fucked.
he did Black Swan.
Oh yeah.
Black Swan's pretty good, but I think
I think
I
Black
think that was a
Swan
good
might be
one.
my favorite of his. I really like Black Swan.
I like Black Swan too, but I think this I might like this one more, but I haven't seen Black Swan in a while, so I don't know. But I don't know. I like Pi, Requiem, this movie, and Black Swan, but Black Swan and this one I think are my top two. I fucking don't care for Mother at all.
Well, your shit talking of Mother has made me not like it as much as time has gone on.
Good. I'm glad if I could give you one thing, it's to hate Mother more.
I'm gonna have to check that one out.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so curious on what you would think of Mother, Cole.
Well, whenever this thing's over, we'll have you up and we'll watch Mother together.
Oh, Jesus
Oh
Christ.
my god, I will stay home.
I'll provide beer.
I might still just stay home.
I'll give you $10 to come watch Mother with us.
All right, I'm in. You got me with the money. So anyway,
Katie's out. My wife is out. She won't do it.
good. Me and Katie will hang out, and you guys can do whatever you want.
She's currently pointing, giving a thumbs up at the phone. She's in.
Perfect. We'll take his $10 and we'll paint the town red, baby.
You creep.
But anyway, back to The Wrestler. I actually have not a whole lot of questions for you guys, but when this movie came out, being that you guys are in like the indie scene, did it was it like a legit feeling of seeing like these back rooms, or like how, like, granted you aren't in his same shoes, but like does this seem like a legit take on this character?
Buck, you want to take that one first?
Oh, sure. Like, I don't know. I've never really met too many people that were really big in the 80s in my kind of goings on in wrestling. So, I don't know. Like, I think the hardships he goes through, I'm not really super exposed to, because like anyone that comes close to that kind of lifestyle has it on when I was around that time. But I don't know. I can kind of see where they might be coming from with like how he, like what he goes through. Like, a funny story is like not long after I saw this, I did do like a show at like a school, and there was one point where I'm like taking my boots off in the back, and it like I'm doing it in a room that looks like the room that he first starts out the movie in, and I'm like, oh shit, I'm in The Wrestler. It looks like a kindergarten classroom. I'm like taking my gear off with my bag there, and then someone walks in and hands me my pay, and I'm like, oh fuck, I'm in The Wrestler.
Oh no. Then you hopped in your van and couldn't get back in your house.
Yeah, my parents locked me out.
So for me, I mean, starting out, so if this movie came out in December, Bucky and I were in the business for about 6 months at that point.
Yeah.
We'd only done a couple of shows.
I thought we started in 2008. Like I think our first match was like in October of 2008, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. We started Memorial Day of 08 training, and then our first match was October of 08.
Yeah.
So we'd done like a couple of shows by the time this actually hit theaters. But yeah, I don't. When I was actually talking to my wife about this as we were watching the movie, I see the locker rooms they were showing and the trials and tribulations that Randy the Ram or Robin the Ram were going through. I see that more like in a 2008 or before era.
Okay.
Because of the stories that I think we've heard. But locker rooms from then on, at least the ones that were around, were like a bunch of nerds.
Yeah.
Like,
oh yeah,
there is nothing going on in these locker rooms that you see that's going on in these movies, or in this movie. Like, it's so night and day. It's crazy. So maybe these are locker rooms of the past, or maybe these are like the hit and miss locker rooms, and they just glorified them for, Hollywood's sake.
Mm-hmm.
But I see more of this being a thing of the past, the locker rooms they show. But with that being said, not to get too soapboxy and too long going, with that being said, the lifestyle of Randy the Ram, I think, is very reminiscent of what a lot of those bigger stars from the 80s probably dealt with. As far as having the relationships that weren't so great with their children, or having the personal relationships that weren't so great, because they're on the road so much. They don't know how to have those relationships. So that, I think, is dead on. Not from a personal aspect, because I don't know that, but hearing stories of enough wrestlers from the past, which is probably what Aronofsky went off of, definitely think he hit the nail on the head.
Okay.
Well, I know, like, when I first started, I don't, like, it wasn't too far off from when I first started, like, what some of these locker rooms kind of look like. But, like, I tweeted, like, earlier this week that, I feel like this movie is kind of dated in that sense where it's, like, the locker rooms I kind of go into now, I don't know, it just feels more welcoming. Like, especially, like, in this movie, they show a lot more, it's mostly just like the boys, like the wrestlers are all together. But like nowadays, it seems like so much more of like a community, like the photographers, the staff, like all the people that help set up chairs, set up the ring, like they're almost in the back, kind of being part of the locker room, just as much as the wrestlers are nowadays. It seems like to me.
I think nowadays it's more of whoever is into putting on the show, the entire show, is accepted into the locker room. Like if you have any part in it at all, you know, you may not be in certain areas of the locker room or certain groups in the locker room, but pretty much you're invited into the locker room as a whole. There's no outcasting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And like I don't know, it kind of seems like kind of like a recent thing to me. Like I was like aware of some of the photographers and stuff when I first started, but nowadays it's like, man, they're such a big part of everything, and they come to the back, and it's like everyone knows their name, and they're in on all the inside jokes, and they're just as much a part of the community as we are. And it's, I don't know, it feels more welcoming, and it almost makes me more comfortable, where it's like everyone that wants to be a part of the show is part of like this family.
Absolutely. And I'm getting totally long-winded here, but I think that's part of how things have changed as far as let's go back to the movie. In Randy the Ram's time, it was all about live events and television. Like when he was big in the 80s, that's what it was. You went to the arena, you watched it on TV, and that was all you knew. But nowadays, it's almost as important as social media. And who gets the social media presence out there but the photographers and the videographers and the people that put their pictures online. So those are the people that you have to depend on, and they are as important as the people sitting in the chairs in the arena to getting the product over and getting the wrestlers popular.
Mm-hmm. Very good.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll get off my soapbox now.
No, I mean, I think this is like way interesting, because I don't know if like a ton of people know like the behind the scenes stuff. I mean, they probably do. It's kind of all open now, but to have the privilege to be able to talk to you two about the inner workings of like indie shows and all this is like way interesting. And granted, I've been in the back room a few times too, and like so there in the one of the shows that he did where he was the main event with the guy with the mohawk, like early on, like I thought that
Oh yeah, was it Tommy something?
Yeah, I thought that backroom environment was, I don't think it was like off-putting at all. I thought everybody was like a well-knit little group there, and I thought everybody like chatting with like, oh, you're gonna do that in your match? Okay, we'll do something else in our match, and blah 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 blah. I thought that was pretty kind of on par with like when I would come to shows with you guys and be in the back room and like all you guys talking and planning out matches and stuff. I'm like, this seems pretty legit to me. So I thought it was like not so much with maybe just like the Rams personal stuff when like him being like kind of past his prime, but like all the current core guys, I felt like it was like a back room that I've been in more than a few times. So I was like, oh, I thought Aronofsky had a good eye for this.
Definitely.
Yeah,
I think he did his homework.
Yeah, I get like that feel from like a lot of the locker rooms and stuff. But like, I think if you take it from like a perspective of now, like there's so many more people that are back there that are like working behind the scenes with wrestlers, and it's like, I don't know, it feels like even more of a community. Like I think in this you see it as just like the wrestlers are the ones that are hanging out and being buddy, but like nowadays it's like you see so many people back there that like it's almost like kind of like an exclusive club, and it I don't know, I'm having more fun being a wrestler now than I did back when it felt like the locker rooms that they portray in this.
Mm-hmm. Right on, man.
Yeah, I agree.
So there's a few characters I want to talk about, not only Randy the Ram, but also Hot Aunt May, which I forgot shows a lot of herself in this movie. Like, I forgot Marissa Tomei.
Oh, yeah.
Not that she was, I forgot that she, I didn't forget she was a stripper, but I forgot that there's as many nude scenes in this movie than there were. Because I was watching it with, like, kids in the room, and I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ.
Oh, trust me. My 2 kids walked in the room when they were doing the party like a fireman scene. I don't think I've ever seen my daughter so more embarrassed than she was.
But
yes, Marissa Tomei, for being, I think, in her 40s when this was made, got herself in pretty darn good shape.
Holy shit, yeah.
She's a smoke show now. Like, so that I found it weird when those guys early on in the movie were just like, "What, did you graduate in 85 or whatever?" I'm like, dude, she's hot as fuck. What are you complaining about?
Yeah,
It's
in that case, he definitely miscast her with those lines being said, because I totally agree with you on that one.
I don't know. Like, you like see like fucking neckbeards online where it's like, I'd probably fuck her if she didn't have that nose. It's like, you'd fuck her regardless, you fucking piece of shit.
That's true. I love that you call them neckbeards.
Oh, dude. It's so, like, I just love going on Twitter and just seeing, like, fucking just the grossest lazy-eyed fucks being like, oh, I'd probably fuck her if she was, like, if she had, like, fucking, like, blonde or something. Like,
Oh
you
my
would
god, you're
fucking
totally
bust
right.
a nut if she looked in your direction, you gross piece of shit.
Oh my god.
What did you think of his relationship with his daughter? Because I thought it was pretty well handled. At some points, though, I thought it was maybe a little more melodramatic, like especially when he forgets to go out to dinner. But like it works for the movie. I thought it was a little overdone. But what do you guys think?
I think it was probably a little over the top. But going to another movie, Beyond the Mat, in that movie you see a real life Jake Roberts and the relationship he has with his daughter. And he's pretty similar to a life of Randy the Ram. And he has relationship issues with his daughter in that documentary. And I think he's pretty spot on. But if you could have had a much longer period of time showing that relationship, maybe it wouldn't have seemed so over the top so soon.
Yeah. I guess that's what it was, because you only see his daughter, twice, maybe 3 times? Because, like, I kind of forget that he has one after a little bit, because he's got so many issues with, like, just trying to make money so he can get in his trailer, and then him and Marissa Tomei, and then, like, going out on jobs and stuff. And I'm like, oh yeah, there's another wrinkle to this too. He also has a strange daughter and blah, 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 blah. But yeah, I kind of kept forgetting that he had a daughter for a while there.
Yeah, I thought it was okay what does with a daughter. Like you guys said, I think you'd be more invested if you had more of an idea of their history before this. But I did kind of get into it just based on the fact that, like, this is fresh off of his heart attack where he's told he can't wrestle anymore. So I can see where she's coming from as, like, okay, this is him with no choice. Maybe he will, like, be able to form a relationship with me and we can now go on and actually become close, and then finding out that, oh no, he hasn't changed.
Yeah.
Like, having a heart attack
totally
doesn't change you.
Yep, I totally agree with that, because you could see almost where, like, wrestling is his baby, wrestling is his partner, wrestling is everything to him. And then once he doesn't have it anymore, he has no choice but not to have it. Then he's got to find, oh yeah, I do have a daughter out there somewhere. So it's almost like we don't know about his daughter before that because he didn't really give a shit about his daughter before that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. I did. It did really ring really hard for me to hear like someone's daughter say like, "Just don't be in my life anymore." I was like, "Oh my god!" I think the last time I saw this, it didn't have any kids, and I didn't really care. But that would really hurt if somebody said that to me now.
Dude, the same thing. It hit me so hard. Because if we grow up and my daughter, oh my god, I would lose it.
I know, right? Like I don't
know. I really dug this because it's like once he gets that news that he can't wrestle anymore, you can see him like frantically scraping for something to fill that hole. And I think that's what I like the most about this viewing of it, is that the minute he gets that news, he goes to anyone that he's had any kind of remote relationship with and just he's like latching on for dear life. And then once he finds that it's not possible, he tries to go back into the life he had before, but that's not possible either.
Yeah, even the kid that's like, "Hey, you want to play Nintendo?" Like anything.
Yeah.
So
yeah, anybody that'll listen
for sure. And I even like if he was playing Nintendo, he had to play a game that that he was in. So like they couldn't do anything that he really wanted to do. But like that's like his downfall though. So like he was like this big huge superstar in I don't know, who would you equate Randy the Ram to in like real life wrestlers? Would it be like a Jake the Snake?
I heard when the movie came out that he was based on Lex Luger.
Okay.
But
I can kind of see that, yeah.
I can see it, but at the same time, I can almost only see it in really the looks. I don't know if I see that really in like an 80s superstar, and now he's hanging on to it, because really Luger didn't do that. I would almost equate it more to a Jake Roberts. Like, he sticks out more to me than a Lex Luger does.
Yeah. So, like, in the 80s, like, Jake the Snake did well for himself, but he just had an issue with, like, drugs and shit that, like, totally made his life spiral out of control. Right?
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, if he were to, like, let's say he was at that level, old Randy the Ram, right? And he, like, it didn't, like, get out of control. He wasn't so self-centered on himself. He could have, like, pretty much just rested on his name and would be financially stable. Like, how well paid were wrestlers in the late 80s?
Oh, fantastic. I mean, if you were in the WWF in the 80s or even in the WCW into the early 90s, you were making great money. And if you figured out how to maintain that money or invest that money in some way or maintain that popularity and stick with that company for a long time, you're set for life. I mean, there's plenty of guys that were big stars in the 80s and 90s that held lifelong jobs with the companies.
Yeah.
But if they fall down the demons of the drugs and alcohol, then their life takes a different route.
Right.
Or it's even just like pro athletes in general. If you look into any kind of pro athlete, like they all kind of have an expiration date, and if you don't really fit some sort of mold to stay useful after your athletic part of the business is done, then you're pretty much like, you see like NFL and NBA stars that get so crazy with their money that by the time their career's over, they have nothing to really show for it, and then they're kind of fucked.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of what they show with how you're supposed to kind of see Randy the Ram in this, is like where he was just kind of a guy who was really good at what he does, but he just never really knew how to save his money or invest it, to where once he outgrew his usefulness, he was kind of cut loose, and now he has to kind of like fall back on the laurels of what he used to have to try and, or that fall back on that nostalgia to try and drum up more money for himself at this point in his life.
Yeah, and now he's just reaching for all these the autograph signings and the conventions and the main events in these small Legion halls that are probably bringing him $1,000 a pop.
Yeah.
When he used to be
that
making
the autograph sign they do in this movie looks so fucking sad. I don't know if they would actually look like that.
I literally
that
was
was
just gonna bring that up. that was like one of the saddest scenes in the movie.
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't think they look that bad. Like, you do see guys that have beaten themselves to the point where some of them look like that, but they made that scene look like they all are like that, and that's not the case.
Some guys are wheelchair ridden, another guy's got a colostomy bag on his leg, canes.
Yeah.
Like, holy shit. And then you got,
that was a little over the top.
you got
Yeah.
friggin' Randy over here, and he's like in amazing shape. I mean, he had a heart attack, but he's like, he took his shirt off earlier in the movie, and I'm like, God damn, like, he's supposed to be like 60 in this or whatever, and like, I'm 33 and I look like a piece of shit. I'm over here with a fucking bum toe and a fucking shit pancreas, and he's got a heart attack and looks like $1 million.
Oh, he never dropped a knife on his foot, though.
Fuck. I don't even know. Joel, did you know that I dropped a knife on my foot yesterday?
Oh, yeah. C. Danger drove by the other day and told us that you dropped a knife on your foot.
Oh, God damn it. What a fucking
And
shit week.
I'm telling you, coronavirus is doing more accidents than anything. Like, hey, Cole, did I tell you that my dad almost cut his finger off?
Actually, sitting on my old front porch today, your mom walked by and told me about that. So people listening to this podcast don't know the small town level that we live in yet. They should know by now.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, my dad was cutting cake boards for a cousin of mine, and he used a table saw, did not have the guard on it, and then almost cut his finger off.
God.
Yeah.
Oh.
And I bet he said, "Oh, well, that fucking hurts."
No, he said it didn't hurt at first. Like he pulled his hand back and was like, "That looks weird," and then realized that it was just his finger hanging by like a little bit of skin that was still on his hand. So he had to go. They went to the emergency room to a town that's close to us, and they said that they couldn't help him. They didn't have a hand surgeon, so they had to go even further to another hospital, and he had to have surgery that night.
Oh my God.
That is terrible.
Yeah,
Yeah, but the funny thing is, they told him that like if they would have just cut it off, he would have had half the rehabilitation time. So he was like, "Fuck! I should have told him to just cut it off."
Oh my God.
Yeah, mine's not that bad, but like I have this like heavy chef's knife, like that. It's like my favorite knife at home, and I keep it super sharp all the time. And I was like cutting up stuff for lunch, and I had 2 screaming kids in the kitchen, and they were just screaming their friggin' heads off. And I'm like, "What do you want?" And I put the knife on the counter, but I didn't have it fully on the counter, and the handle flipped it off the counter, and it came down blade first on my knuckle on my big toe. And the gash was deep enough that I could just see white in the incision, right?
Oh,
And then it didn't really bleed a lot, and it didn't really hurt. But I could still walk on it, but I like closed it up right away and put a Band-Aid over it. And I was like, well, I don't know if I should go to the hospital, because Cole, you even came to my house to pick something up, and I'm like, well, I did this to my foot. And because Chelsea was still working when she got off work, I'm like, so this happened, and she's like, oh my God, let's go to the hospital. So I didn't, and with that, like I can't like arch my big toe up, like I can't flex it like I can on my other foot. So I thought I just cut a tendon in my foot, and the doctor said, that's probably not the case. I probably cut a nerve to my foot, and it's not like whatever. It's not working like a toe should. and because if he said I cut a tendon, when I try to bend it, it wouldn't hurt because there's no pain in like tendons or whatever. But there is pain when I try to move it down. So I probably cut a nerve, and he's like, well, so if you have nerve damage, there's nothing really we can do about it. And even if you did cut a tendon, because of COVID-19 being a thing, that's an elective surgery, and we wouldn't do it now anyway. So you're kind of just stuck with a foot that only can work a little bit. And I'm like, cool. Thanks a lot.
Have a nice day.
Here's a tetanus booster. That'll be I can't wait to get the bill for like $3,000 to get a tetanus shot. You know what I mean?
Oh
shit.
my God.
I'm so used to having dog shit insurance. I would have just super glued it and been like, it'll probably hurt for a while.
Well, I almost did that because I told the doctor, I was like, well, I thought about just super gluing it shut, and then just like, well, I can walk fine, so I might not come in. And he's like, well, okay, but I'm glad you did. And I'm like, God damn it. So anyway, that was my life yesterday. But I have
like so many things. I have like so many like cuts and stuff on my legs from doing wrestling and shit. Where I've like told people about it. Where it's like, that sounded like you needed stitches, and I'm like, yeah, I probably did.
Well, speaking of cuts,
I got a piece of wood stuck in my head once.
Oh my God!
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I remember that.
That was fun.
Speaking of that, what about that death match that him and Necro Butcher had in this movie?
Oh, fuck.
Oh, man.
Here's a funny story. There was a weekend when I was working for IWA Mid-South where I was in charge of driving Necro Butcher around, and I asked him small questions about here and there about the movie. And the only thing I really remember from it is that he said that he had a long sit-down with Nicolas Cage because he was supposed to be Randy the Ram in this movie.
What?
And he was like,
What?
He's a weird dude.
Nick Cage was supposed to be Randy the Ram in this?
Yeah, he was. They had him set to be in the movie so long that they had Necro Butcher meet him, and they were talking about the scene they were going to do for this. And then he just dropped out for some reason, and then he got replaced with Mickey Rourke.
Huh. Good for Mickey Rourke, because this revitalized his career for a while.
Yeah.
But I cannot see Nick Cage in this movie at all. This would be a completely different
what? I
movie.
totally could.
No, shut the fuck up. For what reason?
Dude, if he can pull off the Wicker Man, come on.
Did he pull off the Wicker Man?
He hasn't pulled off shit in
not at all.
40
He didn't.
years. Oh my God. I cannot see him.
We should watch that sometime. Jesus Christ. Watch him punch a woman in a bear suit.
For some reason, to the day that my mom passed, that was a movie she remembered, was The Wicker Man.
Oh my God.
She loved that movie, too.
She loved that movie, and I have no idea why. I bought it for her on DVD. She never watched it, but I bought it for her years ago.
I remember I was there when he gave it to her, and she was super excited because she loved it.
That is so fucked up.
I think me and her went to the theater to watch it.
I think you were with us.
Yeah, and I came out laughing, and your mom was like, "That was really good."
I only bring up my mom because I know she's got a certain bit of fame on this podcast.
Oh yeah, slut bitch.
Oh, the famous slut bitch awards. We haven't done those
The
in
famous
forever.
slut bitch.
That goes way back.
But anyways, yes, that death match was such a cool part of the movie because I think it just showed a lot of oh my God, this happens in wrestling? What?
Yeah.
I just like Necro in the back room. He's like, you ever done a staple gun? And he's like, what? You staple gun. Staple gun.
It's so good.
And dude, you watch how he talks that match out. That's pretty much how like when I knew him, that's pretty much how he would talk a match out, like being very cordial and like yes sir, thank you. Like he was a nice dude. Like I don't know what I think I heard he's kind of dropped out of wrestling now, but like when I knew him, he was a really nice guy. But yeah, I had kind of a problem with that part because I don't think that was a major thing in wrestling where it's like, oh, I'm an old timer, I better start doing death matches. And like
no
against my will, because it's like a lot of the deathmatch people that I've met fucking love that shit to a point where I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
I also had
and I wanted to bring that up too. Oh, go ahead, Troy.
No, I was just the exact same thing you said. Like, so go ahead.
Watching this, I was thinking the same thing of why is Randy the Ram doing death matches? Like, in reality, these old timers can get by on just coming and doing their shtick from 1986, and they make the same payday. That's not a real thing. So that was a little, again, over the top for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only reason I thought that maybe he would do it is like if he got offered a higher payday because he was still locked out of his house or whatever. But like,
true.
And I'm sure he would have, but I don't know. Like I even brought it up when I tweeted earlier that like if like this movie was like made today, like Randy the Ram would just have a match where like he did a dick spot with Joey Ryan and probably get the same payday.
Yeah, and it would
exactly.
And it would go viral.
Yeah, like I don't know. It's just maybe that might have been a thing back here, but I don't know. I've never really seen that where like a guy that was really big back in that day, like leveraged his popularity from that to do a death match. I think he could have leveraged his popularity to just be in a regular match and still get the same payday.
Yeah, totally.
But yeah, I'm glad we all came up with the same question. Like, why on earth would he do that? He's like approaching 60. That doesn't seem like a great thing to do. But I mean, the damage of it. Yeah, I mean, you get to see like what these like deathmatch people like come back to. I would assume that's pretty close to true.
Yeah, and like I don't know, I wasn't a big fan of how they show it in such a negative light too, because I do have friends that love deathmatch wrestling, and like from when I talk to them, like they're just fucking insane, and like but they love this shit. Like I've never seen them come to the back from a match like that and be like, oh fuck. Oh, this sucks. And then like sit in a chair and like have people take things out where they're fucking miserable. Like they'll have like, yeah, they're getting staples and glass taken out of them, but the whole time it's like, oh fuck, that was awesome, right? Like the whole time, like they're so fucking insane. But I love them for that.
God, I cannot get in that mindset of like wanting to do that. Like I don't know.
No.
I don't know why you'd want to cut your body up so bad. It just seems like you're just shaving years off your life. Granted, I know that like any pro athlete is shaving years off his life, taking hits and shit like that, but like you gotta think like all that deathmatch stuff is just expediting that like indefinitely.
Oh, I'm sure it is, but in the same sense, like these people fucking love it. Like me and Cole's mutual friend Marcus, like he just got out of like having brain surgery because he had a piece of glass stuck in his head for I don't know how long.
Yeah.
God.
And as soon as he's healed and ready to go, I'm sure he'll be right back in it.
Yeah, he's told me he's like he told me he was like, well, I'm like he just started getting big right when this happened. It's like I feel like I've worked so hard just to have something come up where I'm like, people are telling me I should quit, and I'm like, fuck that. I'm like, I'm popular now. I want to get back in and like get off and like feed off of what I built from this time on. And he's even told by his doctors that like once they regrow his skull, like he's more than ready to wrestle again. It's just right now it's just a matter of like having that protection over that part of his skull.
God. I knew that was the guy you were talking about before we mentioned it, but I'm just like, my God, that just seems so hardcore.
But that goes, and this is getting to the end of the movie, and I won't jump too far ahead, but that is what some of these guys live for. Like, the pop of the crowd is everything in the world that you could ever imagine feels so good.
Yeah.
And, like, that is more than anything to some people. Like, I was talking to my wife again, watching this movie, and I said, there's one guy I can think of that comes to my mind, and I'm sure he wouldn't mind me saying this. It's our mutual friend Stumpy that wrestles.
Oh,
he comes to mind as a guy that if he knew one more bump would kill him, he would probably take it. Like, he would probably risk that. And it sounds so stupid to some people to hear that. But when you live for that crowd erupting, there's nothing else sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, I get that feeling too. Like, a crowd behind you feels awesome. Like, that was a reason, like, well, I did theater in high school. Like, I knew that I was decent at it and that I could have the crowd in the palm of my hand if I wanted to. And I loved that feeling. Like, I had a bunch of nerves coming up, right before it. But then as soon as I was out there, I was confident and I could just have them feeding out of my hand, and I loved it. And I hate giving that shit up.
Yep, and that's the Randy the Ram story right there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I totally agree. It's just, you get like some kind of rush from it. That, I love that shit. Just, even like down to like creating something in the back that you did within the like 15 or 20 minutes, and then having all of that come together in a ring with people that are on like your every whim and then reacting to it. Like, it's just like the combination of your creation plus yourself is getting a reaction of people that it's pretty intoxicating.
Yeah. That's why I don't understand why people don't like professional wrestling more. Like, I don't know. I find it like such an amazing art form, and also a fun subculture of people that live in this, that like just are enamored with it. You know what I mean? It's like everything that you guys love about it, but it's also like an amazing art form that like people know that everything is predetermined, right? It's a huge thing now, but it's a suspension of disbelief and you telling them a story through your actions that they don't care. It's like it's an art form that I don't know why people don't understand it more. And I love it.
Yeah. My go-to is always, and I use this on everybody, and I'll be such a smart ass when I talk to them, is, oh yeah, you hate wrestling, but you go to the movies, right? Yeah. So do you sit there and yell at the actors in the theater that can't even hear you on the screen about how stupid they are because they're not real? And then I always get some smart ass response like, "Well, it's not the same." Well, fuck you. It's exactly the same.
Yeah. Well, that was even put into this movie too. Like, his boss at the grocery store is that guy.
Totally.
Yeah, that's what I liked, that he added that little nudge in there too. He's like, "Oh, so you're gonna go sit on people's faces this weekend or whatever?" It's like, okay, fucker.
Yeah. Meanwhile, the fucker's like watching porn in his office.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, you're way cooler than me. Yeah, you are.
Stupid neck beard is just jacking off in his office.
But yeah, I actually, who plays his boss? Is it Todd Barry? I think it is. I liked his character because he's like a smaller, shrimpy guy compared to Randy the Ram, but he knows that.
Oh, he's probably a guy. He's probably a guy that's done jack shit with his life, and he's like talking down to someone that probably had like, he got like, who would have had like thousands of people in an arena to watch him wrestle somebody, and yet here's this guy that's done jack shit with his life being like, "Oh, well, you gonna do this weekend?" Like, when I used to do this, I made like 20 times more money than you ever will, you piece of shit.
yeah, but because he's his low life boss and can boss him around because that's what he gives his paychecks to, he can just treat him like a piece of shit. And so he gets like this weird power trip over it. I was like, he's a shitty guy, but it's a good character in the movie.
Yeah. Like, watching it back, I really like how all of it kind of plays out. Like, when Randy gets his heart attack, and then he's kind of clinging to people that he can kind of form a relationship with, and then when he goes back to Marissa Tomei, like, I think the movie is just as much a good showing of what it's like to be a stripper as much as it is to be a wrestler, where, like, she's very hesitant about getting close to him because, like, I feel like for a stripper, like, everyone is a mark in some way. You're just like, oh, this guy just wants to get with me because I'm a stripper.
Yep, definitely.
And then it's like kind of like that distance that she creates with him that kind of forces him to try and go back into his life. Like, I do like that kind of connection of stripper to wrestler where they're so similar in some ways.
Yeah,
and they're both kinds of physical entertainment where you're using your body to make your money, basically.
Yeah. And even like a bit of like kayfabe is in there too, where like they're still trying to stay like quote in character to like the.
Oh yeah, you're being a character.
Yeah, you're not
like
not
how
a
like
real
kind of
person.
how Randy the Ram like always wants people to call him Randy. Like she always has like a name that she needs to be called.
Yeah, when she comes to the shop to help him shop for his daughter's clothes, he says, "Pam, or do I call you Cassandra?" Or so she's still in character.
It's Pam and the Ram. Yeah. Pam and the Ram.
Pam and the Ram.
Pam and the Ram.
God, I wish they would have made it.
Pam and the Ram.
I actually forgot, like, jumping to the end, I always remember that she, like, came to go see him, but I forgot that, like, they don't, well, I know, like, the bittersweet ending to the movie, but, like, that, like, right before he hits the curtain, that they never really get together, because I always remembered that they did, and they don't, because he's like, the crowd is what's gonna get me, sorry. Like, that's what I've always wanted.
Well, like, that's why I like kind of the small bit of foreshadowing throughout, where, like, you can see how Marissa Tomei, she turns it off when she's out of the strip club, because when she's out of it, then she has people call her by her regular name, but throughout the movie, like, he always is like, call me Randy, all the time. So it's like he never leaves that persona of himself. He's always Randy the Ram. So I like kind of like that foreshadowing at the end where like she's like, I want to spend my life with you, and he's like, well, I can't because I'm not that person. I'm Randy the Ram.
Yeah.
And so going to the end of the movie, I thought it was so good. And I never saw this on the first time through, watching it back 12 years ago, but seeing it now, how once he kind of got rid of everything in his life except the crowd right before the very end. Yeah. Because the relationship with his daughter went to absolute shit. He chopped his thumb off and got let go from his job or quit his job.
Fucking cheese lady.
You want your fucking get your own fucking cheese, lady. And then my favorite line of the movie. And then at the very end, he lets go of the one personal relationship that he had and walks out to the crowd, and that's ultimately, have it however you want, that's ultimately his demise.
Yep.
Yeah.
Man. Bittersweet. That's why I find this movie to be like my favorite Aronofsky movie, because it is, of all of his movies, it doesn't have like this weird supernatural overtone to it. It's definitely just a human story, and it can capture anybody. You know what I mean? It's like, I can see why people don't like a Black Swan or maybe a Requiem for a Dream. well, I don't know, Requiem's not supernatural, but like Pi or The Fountain and Mother, like all these supernatural things, I can see like people like, I don't know, like, but this is a really human story, and it's like the ego of one person needs to be fed so much that it ends up just going. He gets overfilled with it and ends up being overdone by it. You know what I mean? And I think it's really a really engrossing story, regardless if you like wrestling or not.
Yeah, you can get past the wrestling part.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, in a way it is ego, but I think in the same sense it's almost kind of like he just doesn't know anything else. Because like they even show like the guy that he made all that money with, the Ayatollah, played by Ernest the Cat Miller.
Yeah.
And like he owns like a used car shop in like Phoenix, and it's like it's funny because it's like he's just as big of a star, but it's just like he had like a backup plan when he got out of it, and I love that part where like he goes to talk to him when he gets to the show, and like you have Randy the Ram who has nothing else to live for, and then you have this one guy trying to fucking sell cars to Nigel McGuinness. But
yeah,
I love like they show like that dichotomy of these two people where it's like you have one guy you follow throughout this whole movie that's like literally his life is completely falling apart, and you have another guy that was almost kind of in the same boat as he is, but like he actually made something of himself, even though it's probably like a slimy way of making like a life for yourself, but it's still a life where like he seems way more put together. So like they still set it up where it's like you're not a complete lost cause if you do this. It's just that he went down a path where he had nothing. He couldn't see himself doing anything else but this.
Right. They show kind of the dichotomy of, and you have that in today's wrestling too, of even just the current guys that wrestle, where you have guys that take it full bore and try to make a career out of it, whereas you have guys that are like, well, you know what, I'm just going to kind of do it on the side and do that for fun. So you have it in kind of two different lights, but totally Ernest the Cat Miller, my God, I did not expect him to be in this movie at all back in 2008, and I kind of forgot that he was in it on my second viewing 12 years later, and it hit me just as good. I loved how that Aronofsky used the independent wrestlers of the time.
Yeah, I like that too.
Yeah, he didn't try to like get extras in there or something. What's that?
Yeah, like fucking R-Truth in there at one point too.
Yeah.
Yeah. R-Truth, Cesaro was in there like putting his knee pads on in one scene.
Oh yeah.
Robbie E was in there, who's in the WWE now. Like there are so many like just guys who are like, oh, I know that guy. Oh, I know that guy. Oh, cool. And even straight down to like when he went to Ring of Honor, and when Marissa Tomei goes in to get her ticket, and there's the old guy, Sid, that used to help run Ring of Honor, sitting at the ticket. Like, and I was like, oh man, when we used to go to ROH shows in like 06 and 07, Sid was there, and there he is.
I know when she goes in and gets her ticket, it felt like when we would get tickets to go to ROH shows, where it's like, oh yeah, I know that guy. That guy's always there when you get tickets.
Yeah.
Oh, I wish she would have died to be in Mid-South and would have seen Patty, because Patty and me were like tight.
Oh yeah.
I found it weird though that she was able to go backstage when she ran into the building. It's like, I need to go backstage.
That was weird too.
And they just let her. And I'm like, what? How did she get that privilege?
That was a little off. That was weird.
Yeah. Even if you were like considered like a quote unquote groupie, or like it's an outdated term, but it was considered rat.
Yeah.
If you were that, you still wouldn't have been like, oh yeah, go right to the backstage. Yeah, of course.
She got right to the entranceway. She could have walked out to the crowd.
Yeah. I've seen people get the fuck beat out of them for less.
Absolutely.
And she just ran right up to the entranceway and was like, oh, how the fuck you... God, security for ROH shows are fucking shit.
Oh, shit. Well, I don't know if there's anything else you got to say about the movie, but I feel like we should give our final grades here.
One more thing.
Oh, go ahead.
Bruce Springsteen with that song. Oh my god! That hits me right in the
Oh my
feels.
god,
That's a good song. It is a good song.
Such a good one. Hits me every time.
Yeah, there was actually there was a show that you guys did in town here, and we went to the bars later, and because there was a wrestling show in town, one of the guys playing at the bar was singing that song. The singer Andy Huey.
Yeah.
But anyway, he sang that song for all the wrestlers that came in to the bar that night. And I think I might like his version better than Bruce Springsteen's. Like,
Oh shit.
like he's got a voice of an angel, and he sang
I
that.
beg to remember that. Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, I think his version was really good.
Like I don't know, but like yeah, that song is amazing. Like I wanted to play it right after I heard it, like again, because it was good. Like
So
just
good.
the one after the movie. I wanted to be like, oh, let's play that again. But I know Chelsea would be like, this is a sad song. I don't want to hear this again. But yeah,
I have only like one little downside with the movie, and it's like I think this got pointed out especially when I saw Mother, but Darren Aronofsky is not that good when it comes to being subtle with his foreshadowing and like his symbolism. There's some times in here where it hits like a get it? Like when he's fucking driving back from a show and they just start blasting Don't Know What You Got Till It's Gone, and I'm like, I get it. Yeah. Yeah. I get it. And then they have like there's that one scene when like he's getting a lap dance from Marissa Tomei, and then she starts connecting the whole like Randy the Ram is Jesus type thing, and it's like, and she keeps like hammering it where it's like, oh my gosh, you're suffering for our entertainment and blah blah blah, and you're like, man, there could be such a more subtle way to do this. Like there's another part in the movie where like they flash across Randy's back and you see like a small portrait of Jesus there, and it's like that would have been way better than having Marissa Tomei do this whole like explanation of like, oh my god, you're like Jesus, you're the sacrificial ram, get it? Sacrificial ram. It's like, oh, I get it, yeah.
Oh man, and he even gets like a laceration in his ribs at one point from that barbed wire.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like like a Jesus spear wound.
Yeah. So it's like I like Darren Aronofsky's filmmaking, but I feel like sometimes he tries so hard to make his symbolism stick out that it's like film symbolism for kindergartners sometimes, and it's like I get it. Like you don't have to be so fucking upfront. Be more subtle, to where it's like, oh yeah, this is kind of like I like make me feel like I'm seeing it instead of like you being like, this is what I see. I'm gonna make you see what I see.
Man, I won't now not see that when I rewatch this. I missed it this time because I wasn't really watching super close when I was rewatching it this time because I've seen it, I don't even know, probably 5 times. But
yeah.
But now any Aronofsky movie, I'm just gonna be like watching for it super intensely. That's gonna suck.
I do like the barbed wire in the ribs though. I didn't put that together this time around, but the barbed wire in the ribs, yeah, that does make sense. That's actually kind of cool. But it's like he does cool shit like that, but he tries so hard to make you see it before you see it for yourself that it's like, I wish he had more faith in his audience to like see that.
At least he didn't get like strapped up like on a table like in a crucifix, you know what I mean? Or some point in that.
Oh god. I wouldn't have put it past him either if he would have done it too.
Yeah. Or I'm surprised that when he went up for the ram jam, he just didn't have his arms straight out, so he was just like a cross.
He almost did.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, so any other last words before we get to our grades for the evening?
Nothing from me.
No, I'm good.
Well, I'll go first. Like, I thoroughly enjoy this movie quite a bit. It's one of my favorites if you haven't heard it yet already. I don't know how you haven't heard it. We've already said this movie's pretty good like 100 times, but I would probably give this movie a solid A. Like, it's a good one. So, like, I was pretty excited when this won the poll. And it's like one of the movies that I know is good and love, and I actually have a lot to say about it, rather than just like, yeah, this is good. This is good. End of story. You know what I mean? Like, so so good on Aronofsky for that. But, yeah, I really enjoyed this movie. I'd give it a solid A.
Yeah. I'll go next. I too will give it an A. I liked it in '09, probably the first time I saw it. I liked it now watching it, and being a wrestler, there's so much that I feel like Bucky and myself both could critique about this, and the critiques are very minimal. Like, it's everything I like, everything about this movie I like, and I feel like it shines a light on a lot of things, and it shines them accurately for the most part, and it's just a good movie. You don't have to be a wrestling fan to enjoy this movie. And I like it. A from me.
Perfect. JT, what do you
Yeah,
got?
I'm on the same boat as you guys. I'll give it an A too. Like, minus my few critiques, I enjoyed it a lot, and yeah, like this came out around the time when me and Coach Havens broke into wrestling, and it almost kind of gave back like some flashbacks of what it was like then, and like now I feel like it's like wrestling's taking a turn that is more accepting and almost kind of better, but in the same sense, I just really like it, and about like how it also points out like how kind of hard this shit is too. Like, it's so easy for people to look at this and be like, oh well, it's just an act. And I was like, oh, no, at the end of the day, it still sucks. Like, man, they do a good job of, like, with, like, the sound in this, of, like, his labored breathing, where I'm like, God, he just sounds like he's fucked up. Like, even, like, after, like, that initial scene when, like, he's coming back from that show, and he's just, it's supposed to be just, like, a normal show that he's driving back from, and he still has that labored, like, breathing and coughing, and, like, I've had some shows where I've been beat up enough where, like, I kind of sound that way, like, driving back from a show, or, like, God, I got fucked up tonight.
There was actually one thing that I wanted to bring up that I forgot earlier. When he's doing his first shift on the deli, and he's walking all the way back through the grocery store, and
that was so good.
They have the crowd like gradually pumped in, like Randy, or Ram Jam, and then he walks through the curtain, and then it just stops, and then you just hear like the sound of the grocery store. I'm like, oh, that was really fucking good. That was good.
And that's so true to life, because there's so many times where, like, I'll just imagine, even like before I got into wrestling, I just imagine me doing my entrance, just walking down like a hallway.
Like Goldberg.
Yep. Yeah. I'd have my mom knock on my door for me and say I'm on, and then I'd follow her.
Oh, sweet deal. Yeah, so this movie ended up being a AAA title for the gang here. All of us A's. Perfect. Everyone check out The Wrestler if you haven't already. So, is there anything else you've been into besides reminiscing about wrestling this week? How about you, Coach Havens? What have you been doing over there?
Oh, man. It's just, dude, it's WrestleMania season. It's been nothing but wrestling for me. Actually getting some outdoor projects going on as well. So, yeah, beyond that, just trying to stay busy.
I can hear that. I have also, like, if I was to do anything, it's go outside. Don't be interacting with a bunch of people. just go outside. That would be my recommendation for everybody this week. I haven't been much into anything else, but I have been doing outdoor projects, and it just feel good to just go outside. I did give the kids to my mom today, their grandma, so I could just have an uninterrupted 4 hours where I could just get stuff done. Oh my god, it was miraculous.
Were you bathing in the sea of cats in your raised beds?
So I saw that you commented on that charm type post that I put up there. So yeah, I got for my birthday or Christmas last year, I got these copper little garden signs where you can just either write or stamp in what it is, so basil or garlic or whatever. And I had one left over, and I just put one in that said "fuck off, cats," because literally there's neighborhood cats sleeping in my fucking garden beds, and I just wish I had a gun. I just wish I could just shoot them, but I can't. So this is what it is. It's just passive aggressive signs that they can't read, but I get a kick out of it.
I about peed my pants when I saw the "fuck off cat" sign. I was like, oh, that's cute. Tomatoes, cucumbers, asparagus, fuck off cats. What is that?
Yeah, that's all my life has just been me stretching, looking outside at all the projects I get to do, and then just cats wandering in my yard, trying to eat out of my garbage or pissing on my cars, and it's just fucking unbearable. These neighborhood cats, just fucking the worst. So anyway, JT, what have you been up to?
Well, me and Molly saw the movie Onward. They just put it on Disney Plus, so we watched that last
such a good
night.
movie.
Yeah,
It's good. Yeah.
I also have watched that a few times.
Yeah, we watched it the other night, and yeah, I heard mixed reviews about it when it first came out, but I really liked it, and Molly really liked it because she's really into the mythical quest type stories, and she even pointed out they do a good job of doing scenarios from those kinds of novels in this movie. I guess she even brought up there's a point in the movie where they have to where they send the van off, and I guess there's a point in any kind of mythological type storytelling where the journey is so perilous that they have to send the horse off, and that's supposed to be kind of that version of it. But cool. They have that, and I don't know, it's really well done. And Molly even said this is the one time that a pair of legs have made her cry.
Yeah, I really appreciated it that it wasn't. It was different. It was I would almost relate it to Frozen, or Frozen 2, that it's more of a sibling story rather than a princess story or whatever else. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I found that really refreshing, and I thought it was really, really well done at the end. I really liked that ending. I thought it was good because
that ending is I was tearing up at that ending.
I also heard mixed reviews of it too, so I was kind of apprehensive, even do I even want to watch this? And then I saw it, and I'm like, oh my god, I was misting up there at the end. I'm like, that's heartwarming as shit. And then Chelsea was upset that I actually watched it before because Macy really wanted to see it. So then I walked in on her watching the end with Macy again, and she was just wet works the whole time. I was like, yeah, it's really sad at the end, but so still bittersweet,
Dude, Molly was fucking ruined by it. The minute he tapped on his shoe, she started crying. I'm like, oh my god, you're gonna be a fucking mess by the end of this movie.
Oh, good deal. So if people want to talk with Pair of Legs with you, JT, where can they do that?
Hey, always find me at Bucky Furman on Twitter, also Bucky Furman on Instagram, and Bucky Furman on Snapchat. C. Havens, where can they find you?
You know what? I'm at Coach Havens on Twitter. I have an Instagram. I don't use it. I just creep on people. I also have a Facebook. And you know what? I'm out there. You can find me. Come see me at a show. Pay a ticket.
Yes, pay a ticket.
That's the Havens.
You can find me at Troy to the Max on Twitter. You can find both me and JT at Revue Pod on Twitter. While you're there, vote for the Tournament of Random Movies. This week, what do we got, JT?
Hey, Troy, it is Cowboys and Aliens versus, what was it? Longest Yard.
The remake of The Longest Yard and Cowboys and Aliens. So vote.
Yeah.
Vote for that. Why? Who is rattling bottles over there?
That was me. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I'm drinking cans, so not me.
All of our shows
I'm
are
9
uploaded.
Coronas deep.
Are you
9?
serious?
I'm totally kidding. 2 and some iced tea.
Holy fuck. You can find all of our shows uploaded onto RevuePod at podbean.com, as well as a slew of other podcasting hosting sites such as Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. And while there, you can rate and review us, because if you like the show, that helps other people find the show. And if you want to write in, you can do so at reviewpod@gmail.com. Tell us how you're doing while you're quarantined at home. Let us know. We'll read it on the show how you're coping. But that's going to be it. So Monday, we have a discussion on the grandest show of wrestling, the Showcase of the Immortals. We're talking WrestleMania, baby.
Yeah. So big that no one could be there.
2 nights. No one in attendance.
Too big for just
2
one.
nights. Yes.
So that'll be
And then
Monday. We won't split the show into 2. It'll all be in one.
yeah, it'll all be in one show.
So join us
But then
Monday
this
for
coming
that.
Thursday, Troy. We're gonna finally do what we've been talking about doing for a long time. Since it's finally out on VOD, maybe we'll even try and get Reed Skeet, see if she can download this Discord too, because we're going to be talking about cats.
Oh, I can't wait for that. Is it the butthole cut?
I wish it was a butthole cut.
Good. I will hit her up
Hey,
to
Cole-
see if she's
if
good.
we can't get Reed Skeets, you want to come back for cats, Coach Havens?
Oh my God! Oh, let me know. Let me know by Tuesday.
You bet.
Because if you need a third party, I'll be your third party.
Well, I know Ramondo Chaw would be very upset if we did cats without her, so I'm pretty sure she'll make room in her schedule to try to get it done. So join us for that on Thursday. So until you hear from us again, we're going to have the same crew come Monday talking WrestleMania. I have been Troy to the Max Extreme. And nobody else seems to be there. So I'm just going to finish out the show by myself. I've been Troy to the Max Extreme. Thank you for coming with us, Coach Havens. And as always, JT3K.
Whoa.
Oh, God. There you are. I just finished out the show. Would you...
Okay, good.
Okay. Well, I'm going to do it right now. We're off.
Okay, I'm back and we're off.
Goodbye, everybody.
I know, I lost you somehow.
It's okay. We'll get over it.
Oh, I gotta pee so bad.
I'm gonna piss my pants at that ending.
Could you hear all that, Cole?
I was there for the whole thing. I heard Joel go off, and then you're like, well, I guess I'm the only one here, and you ended it, so I was like, I'm just going to be quiet. And then Joel kicks back in.
Well, I'm still recording. I'm still recording, so I'm leaving all of this in.
Do I hear me pee?
Oh my god, yeah. Oh, that's such a treat for the crowd. All right, now we're actually gone. We'll talk to you Monday. We'll see you later. Bye.